Closed captioning for Red Sox baseball on Nesson is brought to you by Aflac, Dunkin' Donuts, Verizon, WB Mason, and the Yawkey Foundations.
Last night at Fenway, it was explosive, surreal, record-setting, and downright bizarre. And it began with a 14-run first inning.
First time in my career, 50-some years, that I ever seen 10 runs scored without any outs.
I think I'll go for a walk outside now. The summer sun knows me by night. He's calling me, I gotta get up.
예, 20 runs is something. 해서 아주 좀 더 좋은 투구를 좀 보여.
Seemed to be the head of the pitcher, Olsen.
We were worried. We got to the point late in the game when they had a 20-run lead. We weren't worried about whether they were going to squeeze or not.
This series just got a little more interesting. Game 2 is next on Nesson.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Fenway Park.
Live from Fenway Park, Nesson presents Boston Red Sox baseball. Tonight, the Red Sox take on the Florida Marlins. Hi, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo, as always, joined by Jerry Remy. A wild game last night in game 1 of the series, and should be another good one tonight.
Well, you know, I think the Red Sox, Don, like to bottle up some of those runs last night that they didn't need and probably use them the rest of the weekend. But what you experienced last night, you may never see again in your lifetime. Unfortunately, the thing ended with some bad blood between both ball clubs. We'll see how that plays out here the rest of the weekend.
Tonight, the Red Sox will send Tim Wakefield to the mound, and we've got it next on Nesson. Baseball on Nesson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, your Boston area Lexus dealers, Citizens Bank, Volvo, Bob's Stores, and by Coors Light. And good evening, everybody. Don Orsillo and Jerry Remy back at Fenway Park. A terrific evening for baseball, and the Florida Marlins here for Game 2 of the series. Let's take a look at their starting lineup, brought to you by New England Dodge dealers. Juan Pierre in center field. Luis Castillo at second base. Ivan Rodriguez does the catching. Mike Lowell the DH. Juan Encarnacion in right. Derek Lee at first. Miguel Cabrera at third base. Alex Gonzalez at short. Brian Banks in left. Tim Wakefield ready to work. And the first pitch of this one is in there for a strike to Juan Pierre.
For Wakefield, this will be start number 16. The record at 6-3. Remember, Wakefield had to come out of his last start pitching beautifully in that game with a lower back strain. We'll see how he reacts tonight.
As to bunt his way on, Marabelli can't handle it cleanly. And Juan Pierre is aboard with a bunt single.
Second straight game that Juan Pierre has started the game off with a bunt base hit. That gives him 13 total now on the season. That ball almost hit Pierre, but he was still in the batter's box. And then once he clears the batter's box, nothing but a base hit for Pierre. Great speed down that first base line.
Well, infield hits. He's only behind Dave Roberts of the LA Dodgers. As Pierre is aboard here, here's Luis Castillo, the second baseman. Pierre is off with the pitch. The throw down from Marabelli is not in time. So just like that, Pierre reaching on the bunt single and now jumps up into scoring position on the stolen base.
No surprise there. That's his 34th steal of the season. He has a 10 stolen base lead over Roberts of the LA Dodgers. Head first slide, the tag on the backside, the hand on the bag.
Wakefield had missed with the first pitch, and now Castillo bunting it foul back towards the backstop. 1-1.
That last outing for Wakefield against the Tigers went 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs allowed before he had to leave that game, and he pitched a lot of that game with that bad back. really kind of amazing he's able to make this start tonight.
It is the second time that he has bounced back so dramatically after an injury. The first time was in Milwaukee when he was hit with the pitch. Looked like he's going to be out for a very long time, as he was actually carted off the field in Milwaukee, and he was able to come back for that next start. In a very similar situation here tonight with the back injury that really hobbled him walking off the field. You had to think it was a DL type scenario that night when Wakefield was assisted to the dugout. But here he is again. Pierre heads for third. Mirabelli's throw is not in time again, and another theft for Juan Pierre.
Now, Juan Pierre, I mean, it's almost like heaven when you get on base against a knuckleball pitcher if you're a base stealer. You're going to take your chances, and I'll tell you what, Juan Pierre's not wasting any time. Red Sox did a good job of keeping him close. They had both Garciaparra and Sanchez dancing back and forth, but Pierre still picks up the steal of third.
So he stands at third, nobody out, and a count of 1-2. Got him. A big strikeout for Tim Wakefield, the first out here of the first inning.
Let's take a look at the Red Sox defense, brought to you by a Boston area Lexus dealers. Bill Miller at third, Nomar the shortstop. Freddie Sanchez gets the start at second, and Kevin Millar at first. Left to right, Manny Ramirez, Johnny Damon, and Gabe Kapler getting his first start in a Red Sox uniform. Doug Mirabelli behind the plate.
Here is Irod, Ivan Rodriguez. That's third in this Marlins order. And he bats with one out and a runner at third base. On the ground left side, Omar Garciaparra is there. Throws out Rodriguez, but from third comes Juan Pierre. The game's first run. The Marlins lead it 1-0. Remember, it was Florida who were able to score last night in the first run of the game, and that's what a great leadoff hitter will do for you right there.
Yeah, how about that done? The bunt base hit to start the game. Steal second, steal third, and score on the ground ball to shortstop. Of course, the Red Sox giving up the run here early in the first inning.
Well, the cleanup hitter has had a fantastic year. Mike Lowell at .292, 24 homers, and 65 runs batted in. He fouls that knuckler off and evens up at 1-1. Leading the National League in home runs currently, the DH for the Marlins. As tonight, Miguel Cabrera starts at third base for Florida. In the air to center field, Johnny Damon camped underneath and waiting, makes the catch for out number 3. Marlins lead it 1-0 after half an inning. Fenway, the Marlins jump on the board first tonight on top 1-0. Let's take a look at the Red Sox starting lineup tonight. Johnny Damon leads it off in center field. Bill Miller at third base. Nomar Garciaparra at shortstop. Manny Ramirez in left. David Ortiz is the DH. Kevin Millar at first. Gabe Kapler in his Red Sox debut in right. Doug Mirabelli does the catching. And Freddie Sanchez plays at second base and bats ninth.
The Marlin defense is brought to you by a Boston area Lexus dealers. It'll be Miguel Cabrera at third base. Alex Gonzalez the shortstop. Louis Castillo at second. And Derek Lee at first. Left to right, Brian Banks, Juan Pierre, and Juan Encarnacion. Pudge Rodriguez doing the catching, and on the mound, Tommy Phelps, a long-time minor leaguer, 10 years in the minor leagues with the Marlins, the Tigers, and Montreal. This year, 19 appearances. This will be his 7th start as a starter, a 3-2 record with a 4.55 ERA. There are his numbers overall.
Johnny Damon pops it up off third base. Miguel Cabrera steps into foul ground and takes care of out number 1.
Third baseman, number 11,
So while it took a very long time for the Marlins to get the first out of the first inning last night, it doesn't take very long tonight as Damon is retired. And there's one down here in the bottom of the first inning for Bill Miller. It's to start at third base tonight for the Red Sox. Miller 325, 5 homers and 33 runs batted in. Knocked in a career best 6 runs. Matched his career high with 4 hits in the first game of the series last night.
Red Sox tonight from Phelps will see the fastball not overpowering, high 80s, curveball, slider, and a changeup.
Inside to Miller. 2-1.
His last outing against the Mets was a relief outing. The time before that was a start against the Mets, where he went 7 innings, only gave up 3 hits and no earned runs. The Marlins won that game 5-1.
He's actually born in Seoul, South Korea, but resides in Tampa, Florida now. The 28-year-old left-hander going for the Marlins tonight. 3-1. Miller sends it foul off the right side. It's a full count. Bill Miller is tied now in doubles on the top of the list in the American League with Aubrey Huff and Garrett Anderson, the Anaheim Angels. All 3 players tied with 28 doubles on the season. On the ground towards Castillo, ranges to his left and throws out Bill Miller. 2 down.
Well, let's check tonight's game notes, brought to you by New England Toyota dealers. 8 major league or club records set or tied last night by the Red Sox in an incredible game. In the league records, the Marlins very well, 8-5. Red Sox 9-6, much better than years past. And the Marlins 91 steals. Well, you can add to that 93 now. They lead the major leagues in that category.
Where available, tonight's broadcast can be heard in Spanish by using the SAP function on your TV set.
Buenas noches, amigos. Disfruten el juego.
Wasn't ready for the last part.
I wasn't either.
I'm glad you got it in, though, because it's my favorite part. Umpire at 341, 11 homers, and 52 runs batted in. And quickly down 0-2. Sits safely in 30 straight games now at Fenway Park. And 36 of 37 home games this season. On the ground, diving to his left as Cabrera gets up and throws out Garciaparra. Nice play by Miguel Cabrera. Red Sox go in order. They trail 1-0. Don Orsillo and Jerry Remy back at Fenway Park. Top of the 2nd inning. Florida on top 1-0. Tim Wakefield had a 10-pitch first inning in which the Marlins scored a run. Juan Encarnacion lead it off here in the 2nd inning. Right fielder. He'll be followed by Derek Lee and Miguel Cabrera in the inning. Offered, and it's 0-2 now to Encarnacion. 283, 10 homers, 48 runs batted in. Pops it up foul off the left side. Now to play.
Encarnacion's had pretty good success against Wakefield as far as the long ball. He's 3 for 11 against Wakefield, and 2 of those hits have been home runs.
And he's been hot lately over his last 4 games, going 6 for 16 at 375. So left field, Ramirez heading back. It'll be over his head and off the wall. Manny plays it quickly, and Encarnacion will hold on with just a long single. Had the play in front of him as he rounded first and saw that Manny quickly was able to grab it off the wall and lead off single for Encarnacion.
See, Don, that's why a lot I mentioned the fact you should play shallow here at Fenway Park. That's a curveball, and I'm talking about in left field, because here's a case, a perfect example. Line shot over Manny's head, but yet it's only a single for Encarnacion. The worst it's going to be is a double. So you can take a lot of base hits away on those short line drives, and those ones over your head sometimes will end up as just a single.
Certainly appears to be more advantages to playing shallow here at Fenway than in left.
I think so. You know, and you watch a lot of visiting guys come in who are unfamiliar with the wall, and they'll play almost to the warning track. Manny plays a very shallow left field. Jim Rice played a shallow left field. Yastrzemski played a shallow left field.
Let's play at first. Encarnacion went back awkwardly and may have injured himself returning to the bag at first. Taking a little extra time for himself over there as Wakefield has checked on him on 2 occasions. Marlins already with 2 stolen bases tonight off Tim Wakefield and company, as Juan Pierre stole 2nd and 3rd and eventually scored last inning. Very close again at first.
Yeah, right now Encarnacion is maxed out on his lead. When you have the crossover step and dive and you're just barely getting back in time, that's about enough of a lead. Matter of fact, you might want to shorten it up a little bit.
He's out there again, as this is in there for a strike to Derek Lee, first baseman for the Marlins, who disagreed with that strike call with Rob Drake, the home plate umpire. first is off. The pitch is outside. Throw down is not in time. Already the third stolen base of the night for the Marlins. 13th of the season for Juan Encarnacion.
Well, this is nothing new. Again, any teams that have base stealers on it, when they get on base against the knuckleball, they're going to take their chances. Good throw by Mirabelli, but just not quite in time. Encarnacion with a head first slide. Sanchez out in front of that bag. Catches like those middle infielders to straddle the bag, not get out in front.
Whistle missed inside. I would imagine it puts you kind of in an awkward position. Get bend back to try to get the guy if you're in front.
Yeah, it just takes longer to get that tag back around to get him. When you straddle the bag, you catch the ball, slap it on him. In defensive middle infielders, sometimes they get in the habit of creeping out in front of that bag because a lot of throws are bouncing, so it kind of draws them, back in the infield. But
Sanchez can't get it. It's out into right field. Encarnacion to be stopped at third on the single by Derek Lee, and the Marlins have runners at the corners and nobody out.
Just to finish that thought on the steals, you try as an infielder to keep in that good habit of straddling the bag, because if you get the throw in the air, it's much quicker to get that tag down. A little soft line drive by Derek Lee off the end of the bat, it looked like, but the Marlins with a little first and third action here with nobody out.
Miguel Cabrera, the third baseman, with runners at the corners and nobody out. Marlins with a chance here to grab a few more runs as they lead it 1-0. Bat in the second inning, and Cabrera swings at the first pitch. Well, we've already seen some fine defense turned in tonight by the Marlins third baseman Miguel Cabrera, as he laid it out and still had plenty of time to throw out Nomar Garciaparra. That was in the Boston first inning.
Derek Lee, another guy that will run. He's got 14 steals on the season.
Outfield set up straight away as this is hit on the ground. Miller to his left, chance to start a double play, and the Red Sox are able to turn it. In the back door from third comes Encarnacion, and the Marlins add to their lead on top 2-0, but the Red Sox will certainly take the 2 outs.
Yeah, that's a case where you give up a run, but I think you're pleased to give up the run to get the 2 outs. That took a tough hop on Miller. That ball stayed down on him, and he had to almost jab at it to get it. Good strong throw by Sanchez to complete the double play. So that's why they tell infielders, work from the ground up in case you get that ball that stays down on you.
There's Alex Gonzalez, a shortstop for the Marlins. 311, 12 homers, and 50 runs batted in for Gonzalez. He's just 2 for his last 20 as he takes a hack at that pitch. Last night was 0 for 4 with a walk in the ball game in the first game of the series. And hits this sharply down by Ozzie Guillen, the third base coach's box down there. And they got a fan down there, unfortunately.
Every time I see Ozzie Guillen, it reminds me of a guy that never saw a pitch he didn't like. He was up there swinging the bat.
Is he aggressive?
Oh, my goodness.
1-2 down and away. And Ozzie down there reacting to a one hopper that ended up into the first row seats down there, where the box is jet out. It looks like it may have gotten a young fan. 1-2, chop left side, and finds its way through into left field. Alex Gonzalez aboard with a 2-out single.
Well, H.P. Hood is rooting for the Red Sox and kids throughout New England. Each time the Red Sox strike out an opponent, make a double play, or hit a home run at Fenway, Hood donates $100 to the Hood Home Team Advantage Fund, which in turn benefits children's hospitals all over New England.
Sure, I've done a little research. You know how big that milk bottle is?
Oh, let me guess, Don. 90 feet.
No. It is 28 feet tall.
Is that all?
That's all it is. It looks
that's very impressive.
Bigger than that. It is.
Yeah, it looks 90.
Extremely impressive, and it is the white monster. And right, you got the green monster left, got the white monster out there and right. I'd like to thank the fine people from Hood for dropping off some Hoodsy mini ice cream sandwiches here to the booth.
Oh, that's just what we need.
That's we're very glad they did. As, hopefully they'll do that more regularly, as we certainly enjoyed that tonight. Runner at first is off. A throw down to second base, as that should be strike 3 to Brian Banks.
Well, you better tag first, because that ball hit the ground. Okay,
they have for the final out.
Yep.
So that'll do it. Mirabelli still going back in the direction of Drake, but they threw to first to get the final out of the inning. And the Marlins added their total. They lead it 2-0 after an inning and a half. Hey, ready for the last of the second inning. Manny Ramirez to get it started. Ramirez, David Ortiz, and Kevin Millar to face Tommy Phelps here in the second inning. And an 11-pitch first in which you retire the side in order. In there for a strike to Manny, 1-1. There's a .317, 17 homers and 60 runs batted in. And a 3-run homer, singled and scored twice as part of the 14-run, 13-hit first inning yesterday.
And both Manny and Nomar, with the lopsided score last night, got quite a bit of that game off. Manny was still 2 for 3 in the game. Nomar was 1 for 4. So they got some well-deserved time off with the blowout win by the Red Sox.
Have you seen anything like that in one inning before the beginning of the game?
Never have, Don. Never have. And I got to tell you, on the RemyReport.com, the biggest one-day order form for scorecards that I've had since we've had this thing going. I mean, people just want that because it's part of history.
It's certainly so different and unique. As this is into left field. Base hit for Ramirez. Red Sox have their first base runner of the night. It's a single for Manny Ramirez.
Game time is Miller time at Fenway and on Nesson. Stop by a participating Fenway area retailer before game time. You can win free tickets to the game and end up on Nesson in the Game Time is Miller Time Fenway seats. Just like those lucky folks out in those seats there. Manny gets a ball down and in just above the knees and rifles it down to left field on the ground for the base hit. I like that. Rifles it.
You like that?
Yeah. Scorches it.
You're going to mix it in more often?
Rifles it. Scorches it.
I kind of prefer laced.
Laced. Ripped.
And at first base, David Ortiz, the designated hitter, apparently all right after being struck last night, and he is in there tonight as the DH. Check swing foul off the left side, and evens up at 1-1.
David Ortiz became the target of the frustration of the Florida Marlins last night. Marlins and Jack McKeon feeling that the Red Sox were running up the score by having too many close plays at home plate on sacrifice flies, and there's the response from Almonte. And after that, both teams were warned. No punches thrown in this little brouhaha on the field.
Fouled back down there beyond the tarp area, and they got back in there quickly.
Interesting, Grady Little's comments today after the game. We'll look at the home run by Ortiz last night. Grady pretty much admitted today in his pregame meeting with the media that, yeah, we made some mistakes in that game last night, and he was going to go over to apologize to Jack McKeon about it today, and he did.
Do you think he took an extra look at that as far as the home run for Ortiz? It sounded as if some of the Marlins felt he may have taken an extra look.
That has become so commonplace now in baseball. I don't know. But I think what Jack and the Marlins were most upset about is the Red Sox scoring some close runs and having some runners thrown out, in a very lopsided ball game.
Shot up over the mound. Castillo right around the bag at second. Fires to first for the double play. Worked out great for the Marlins defense, and unfortunately for the Red Sox, 2 down.
As a matter of fact, Grady was pretty upset about it today. Had a chance to sit with him briefly after the media left, and he was very frustrated about it. And he said, I just got to go out there. I got to talk to Jack. He says, we don't want to play baseball that way. And it's kind of these unwritten rules you have. They go back years and years. And I think that one there last night is the toughest one. The man at third base, you don't bunt, you don't squeeze, you don't hit and run, you don't steal, you don't swing 3-0. But the one at third base is a tough one because those are Robbie eyes for guys. And, the way we were always taught years and years ago, if you have to slide, you probably shouldn't go in those situations. If the score standing up, no problem.
Sounded like Grady got home last night and thought about it overnight and then came back today and seemed to have a much different perspective on the situation than he did maybe last night.
And he had a number of meetings with a number of different players and also maybe coaches. And he wouldn't say who, but, you know, he was pretty down about it.
And he and Jack McKeon are friends from what I gathered from Grady today as well.
As a matter of fact, he said that as sick as he was over the loss that they had in Philadelphia last week, that X-ring loss, that's how he felt last night after that win. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
And you're right. They're both very close. And even Jack in his comments after the game last night didn't blame Grady a little, but Grady felt like he had to go over and apologize to him for it.
I mean, there are those certain unwritten rules in baseball that have been around forever and ever, unspoken. And
yeah, some are pretty clear, some aren't. You know, I mean,
that one's a great one though to me. I think the guy's tagging up, but I think you're right. He's got to be standing. If it's going to be close, he probably shouldn't go. I agree with you entirely. 2-2 swung on a miss by Millar. First strikeout for Phelps. We played 2. It's 2-0 Florida. At Fenway, the Marlins have scored single runs in the first and second and lead it 2-0. They're out hitting Boston tonight 4-1. As Juan Pierre created havoc on the base paths after he reached on a bunt single in the first inning. They're showing bunts again to even the count of 1-1.
It's amazing. Look where Pierre has these infielders playing. Millar and Miller in very close. Sanchez closer than double played that at second, and Nomar at his regular spot.
He appears to be swinging away. If he liked the pitch, let it go by. It's 2-1. Amazing what a difference it makes when you get a guy at the top of the order like this. It grabs the attention of everybody, even when he gets on base.
Got a quick run for himself back in the first inning. The bunt single to lead it off. And then a steal a second. Very shortly after, a steal a third, and scored on a ground ball by Pudge Rodriguez. And here we go again. He just drew the walk.
And it's the first walk of the night given up by Tim Wakefield. So leadoff walk here. And for the third consecutive inning to begin the ball game tonight, the Marlins have the leadoff man on. A very scary situation here last night, and we're very happy to report that Kevin Olson, who of course left the game after being struck in the head, has a concussion and the laceration that he had last night. He is okay today and is resting in his hotel room, we're told. He was placed on the 15-day DL today by the Marlins. And one of the scariest things you'll ever see, and I know you said last night, Jerry, this was the quietest you'd ever heard Fenway Park.
Don, you could hear a pin drop here at Fenway Park, and certainly I'm sure there are a lot of players on both sides, his teammates, Red Sox players, and fans who saw that last night that was certainly thinking about him, and we're glad that everything's okay and spend his time on the DL and get back to pitching again. But it was well, you always hate to see that at the ballpark. Fortunately, he's okay.
Had a CAT scan last night at Beth Israel, and the results were normal. Runner is off. The pitch is high. Throw down, and they got him. Mirabelli able to throw out Juan Pierre. The Marlins have been running all over the place, but not this time.
That time the Red Sox pitch out. Juan Pierre, he can't wait to go. He's going on that first pitch, so the Red Sox sniff it out. They pitch out, and they get him at second base. He still made it close. But Mirabelli again with a good strong throw. That time, you see Sanchez straddle the bag that time?
Mm-hmm.
Out in front of that bag. Nice easy tag, and he's out.
Well, another runner caught stealing by LoJack. Go to boston.com/Nesson to register to win as Mirabelli guns down Juan Pierre for the first out of the inning. Castillo chops it left side. Nomar charging and throwing in time. Just in time to get the fleet of foot. Luis Castillo 2 down.
The catcher, number 7, Ivan Rodriguez.
Another look at the tag at second base as Sanchez straddles the bag, gets the tag a little bit high, but now here's the play by Nomar. Sidearm throw that started to tail away, but Millar is able to make the play.
With 2 down, Ivan Rodriguez grounded out to shortstop his first time up, and he takes strike 1 from Wakefield. Up foul. ball back and below us. 1-2 to Ivan Rodriguez. The Red Sox have Johnny Damon deep in center, and Gabe Kapler, who has played here, of course, at Fenway Park before, coming in with both the Tigers and the Texas Rangers, playing relatively shallow right in his Red Sox debut. And Umpire to his left has this one in plenty of time to throw out Ivan Rodriguez. Gone are the Marlins in the third through 2.5, 2-0 Florida. Don Orsillo and Jerry Remy along with Eric Fried back at Fenway Park. 2-0 Florida on top as we head to the bottom of the third inning in the debut for Gabe Kapler. I think here a little earlier than many had anticipated, as the Red Sox had him play in Lowell and then brought him up here, and I think many thought we may see him on the road trip, but here he is in game 2 of this series with the Florida Marlins after the Red Sox picked him up. 27 years of age, career .270 hitter between Detroit, Texas, and Colorado.
Replaces Jeremy Giambi, who has been battling a wrist and shoulder problem, a left shoulder problem that has placed him on a disabled list.
Jeremy is retroactive to June the 22nd, so he could return at some point during the road trip. Kapler was recently released by the Colorado Rockies. He was at AAA at the time of the Colorado Springs team, in which he had played in 13 games. Last year he joined Colorado from Texas at the trade deadline and hit at .311 last season for Colorado. Kapler hits it high and deep to left. Back goes Banks. That is going to be off the wall. Scraped it on the way down, and Gabe Kapler in his first Red Sox at bat scrapes the wall with a double.
Not a bad way to start off as a member of the Red Sox by getting a Fenway double. This is the ball that scrapes the wall on the way down, right on top of the leap of Brian Banks. And Kapler, who has good speed, in the second base with the double. He'll do a few things for you. You know, he can play all 3 outfield positions if needed. Could probably play some first base for you. He can run, and he's a very good defensive outfielder. Comes highly recommended by Jerry Narron, who of course had him in Texas.
Doug Marabelli stands in and takes ball 1 from Tommy Phelps. Well, the funny thing before the game, Gabe Kapler, coming from Lowell, where he was for, I guess, just a pair of games. Marabelli came into the manager's office jokingly and said to Grady Little, got a guy from Lowell just called up today who's now batting ahead of me. So Kapler batting 7th tonight and Marabelli batting 8th. Of course, the two played together with the Texas Rangers, so they know each other well. And Marabelli doing the catching tonight and batting 8th. I was surprised by the numbers as far as his speed goes. I always think of him as kind of a power guy. But he has 57 career steals. Marabelli sends it foul back down into the seats.
Did you see Marabelli last night at first base?
I did, yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
He was 2 for 3. He made 2 out of the 3 plays. One he just charged. He attacked it like a catcher would, you know. But he made a couple down there.
Kind of surrounding it.
And he tacked it like he was blocking it.
Saw him a few times in spring training at first base. Takes some ground balls over there. In there for strike 3. Second strikeout for Tommy Phelps. 1 down. Let's check in with the Big E, Eric Fried. Eric.
Just enjoying the sun out here. It's beautiful out here in section 2, and Patty's here with 39-year friends. Tell me about your group here, Patty.
Well, we just a bunch of people from Webster. We hang out at a bar called Cheers 2, which is named after the bar Cheers, which was the famous TV show.
The reason I was drawn to you guys is that you're all Jerry Remy fans. Jerry, these are your people, and show us why.
We love you, Jerry.
Go ahead.
Hi, Jerry. Love you, Jerry.
I find them everywhere, Jerry. They're here for you. These are your people. Back to you.
I love those people. From Cheers, right?
Cheers 2.
Cheers 2.
In Webster, Massachusetts.
I didn't know there was a Cheers 2 in Webster.
I didn't know that either. You have to go visit your people in Webster, Massachusetts. Tommy Phelps working from the stretch. Gabe Kapler at second. And Freddie Sanchez in there for the first time tonight, batting in the number 9 spot, getting a start at second base. Sanchez with the Red Sox this season at .217 with no home runs and 1 run batted in. Knocked in his first run of the season yesterday. This is inside this time to Sanchez, 2-1. Freddie, a career .327 hitter in 346 minor league games before coming up here to Boston for his second stint as a member of the Red Sox. Wild swing at that one to even the count at 2-2.
Change-up fooling Sanchez. You know, when you don't get a lot of playing time, and obviously not as much for Freddie as at the AAA level, it seems like the pitches that give you the most difficulty are the off-speed pitches. You kind of get in for that fastball, and that time Sanchez chasing a bad changeup.
Count now to Sanchez, the top of the Boston order. Johnny Damon waiting on deck. Dave Kapler with a leadoff double off the wall. Mirabelli strikes out, 1 out, 1 on. And the 3-2 to Sanchez. Chop to third. Miguel Cabrera bobbles it for a moment, but is still able to get Freddie Sanchez. And Kapler remains at second base with 2 down.
Looked like Cabrera was taking a peek towards second base to hold the runner, and then while doing that, just dropped the baseball. This is an excellent prospect. This guy is one of the top-notch prospects in baseball. He was moved from shortstop last year to third base. We saw him last night in the outfield. Good strong throwing arm across the diamond to get Sanchez even after the bobble.
So 2 down. Kapler was at second with nobody out. He's at second still with 2 away. And here's Johnny Damon, who fouled out to the third baseman Miguel Cabrera in the first inning. And Damon has caught fire. .357 over the last 15 games. Really ever since he returned to the top of the Boston order after a little bit of time spent at the bottom of the order.
But we've had some guys that have had some big time games recently. How about Nomar with the 6-hit game and the 5-hit game? Damon last night 5 for 7. Look at that last night. 4 for 5 for Miller. Todd Walker 4 for 5. Trott 3 for 4.
Red Sox improved their batting average 5 points last night. It was pretty tough to do because at this stage of the season really doesn't move one way or the other all that much when you're talking about an entire team. But it did last night with some pretty incredible numbers.
Look at the time.
2-1 misses. Now, did you think about a defensive replacement for yourself late in the game? You know, I mean, it was dragging on. You've done all you could do early. Maybe another analyst.
I got to tell you, though, it was amazing that I think that first inning ended at 8:06 last night. But, you know, as the game went on, then, of course, you had that scary moment, obviously, with the pitcher getting hit.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's
benches clearing.
Yeah, you know, so much going on. I mentioned the scorecard. Before I left today, 350. They all want that big inning, the first inning, where they said, you know, history.
The payoff pitch. Damon grounds it towards the second baseman. Castillo fires on to first to Lee, and the Red Sox are gone. They leave a man in scoring position. Marlins on top 2-0. Brought to you by LoJack, Aflac, Dunkin' Donuts, and by Chief. It's on to the top of the 4th inning on just a picture-perfect evening from Fenway Park, and some of the humidity that had been with us the last few days has departed and cooled off a little bit here tonight. As this one is popped up foul. Mirabelli and foul ground, handling out number 1. Red Sox disposing of Mike Lowell on just 1 pitch.
Right fielder.
It's time now for our Aflac trivia question tonight. And the question is, what is the Red Sox record for most runs scored in a season? We'll have the answer for you in the next half inning. Whatever it is, I'm going to bet there's a chance that the Red Sox in 2003 could surpass it. Certainly on track to do that, I'm quite sure.
492 wins coming into the runs coming into the game tonight. Second in the league to Toronto. Red Sox took over the top spot in batting average, 299 after last night's performance. Toronto lost today 4-2 to Montreal. Yankees won game 1. They play tonight over at Shea. This afternoon at Yankee Stadium, tonight at Shea, that makeup game from last week.
That's got to seem very strange for the players. You play one game, then you jump in a bus collectively as 2 teams, and then you head over and play that second game in a different venue. Well, everybody's waiting for you. Doesn't mean you got to open up the ballpark 2 hours before the game. Right back at Wakefield, who snares it. Tim continues to show why. He's one of the best defensive pitchers in Major League Baseball. 2 down.
Yeah, that's not an easy play either. There's no big bounce here to help out Wakefield. This ball stays very low to the ground, and that's the most difficult for any pitcher to make. And remember, Wakefield also operating with a little discomfort in his back. Takes a base hit away from Juan Encarnacion.
2 down for Derek Lee. Single to right field his first time up. 1 of 4 Marlins hits. And consecutive game streaks for Derek Lee. 291 consecutive games for him now with his inclusion in tonight's game. Cut, and it's 1-2 now to Derek Lee. This streak is the longest active run in the National League and 3rd longest in the major leagues. Those 291 straight games. He's behind Miguel Tejada. Leads everybody at 5-10. This is grounded to short. Garcia-Parra throws out Derek Lee. That's it. Wakefield enjoys his first 1-2-3 inning. We played 3.5. 2-0 Florida.
2-0 as we go to the bottom of the 4th. The Marlins have the lead. Red Sox Fantasy Camp for Kids is coming up August 18th and 19th at the Melrose Sports Complex. Boys and girls ages 7 to 15 will enjoy 2 days of baseball instruction, games, and appearance by Red Sox Hall of Famer Louis Tiant, and a trip to Fenway Park where campus will be introduced on the baselines August 19th. To reserve your spot, call 1-800-336-2267.
It's on to the bottom of the 4th inning. Back at Fenway, Red Sox dealing with a 2-run deficit, sending Bill Miller, Omar Garcia-Parra, and Manny Ramirez to the plate. You know, Miller, after kind of a tough stretch after he had gotten that batting average up to the 380s, it dropped off there for a little while, not for very long, but the batting average dripping down to the 320s, and now back up to 325 and climbing again. What has been a terrific first year for Bill Miller in a Red Sox uniform.
Big night last night with the 4 hits to get him back up in that top 10. And as a matter of fact, 6th in the league now.
A 4-pitch leadoff walk to Bill Miller, and the first walk of the night given up by Tommy Phelps. Red Sox have the lead man on for the second, actually the 3rd time tonight.
Win a LoJack stolen vehicle recovery system by entering the LoJack caught stealing sweepstakes at boston.com/Nesson. Every time the Sox catch a runner stealing, go to the website, enter the date, opponent, runner caught stealing for your chance to win. I messed that up, Don. I stopped. It should say catch a runner stealing. I stopped after a runner.
It's kind of choppy, I noticed.
Very choppy. Not good.
I didn't know if it was a typo. I didn't really want to think it was
no,
you.
It was a Remo. It's bad.
Well, Bill Miller is aboard to begin things here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Nomar Garcia-Parra grounded out to 3rd base his first time. And he promptly lifts it in the air to left field. The ball is up, track, wall, monster seats. 2-run home run for Nomar Garcia-Parra, and just like that, we're tied at 2.
Nomar Garcia-Parra here at Fenway Park has been absolutely incredible. First of all, the home run here to tie the ball game at 2-2. But Nomar is now hitting 31 straight games at Fenway, 37 of the 38 played at home this season, hitting .406 coming into the game. That's just unbelievable here at Fenway Park.
Manny Ramirez single to left his first time, and he takes strike one from Tommy Phelps. And we're certainly seeing the Nomar that won back-to-back batting titles for the Red Sox. As we have mentioned, certainly a much different looking hitter than he was a year ago, and admittedly last year was never really comfortable. He set it off, and even though he had some pretty amazing stretches, including the 3 home run performance on his birthday, there was never any kind of an extended time where he was completely comfortable. Ramirez sends it to center. Juan Pierre goes back. It'll carry him to the dirt of the track, but he's there for the first out of the inning.
Well, they just stayed away from Manny's power enough to get that fly ball to the warning track. Just enough outside where Manny was just a little bit off balance. The location of that pitch, he didn't quite get all of his body into it, just kind of flicked at it, but still drove it all the way to the warning track.
That's amazing.
Well, they say it's a game of inches, and 1 inch back toward home plate, that ball's in center field bleachers.
David Ortiz, who grounded into a double play his first time up.
I think they say that, don't they? It's a game of inches.
I've heard people say that before, yeah.
There's a couple of sports that are games of inches, really.
I think boxing is one. Oh, croquet is very much a game of inches.
Polo.
Bocce.
Bocce ball, yeah.
Yeah, very much. Marbles. I think pretty much every game is a game of inches now that I think about it. And certainly football. Ortiz lines it into right field. Down towards the corner, David thinking too. And Encarnacion will dig it out, and Ortiz will jog into second base with a stand-up one-out double.
David Ortiz coming off a big night, 3 for 4 last night. Follows the double play back in the second inning with a hard double down that right field line. All inside, but Ortiz able to get the barrel of the bat out in front and pull that ball down the line.
It's time now for the former Florida Marlin. Kevin Millar stands in for the second time tonight, a strikeout victim his first time. As Millar had played nowhere but Florida prior to coming here to Boston. And his numbers as a member of the Marlins, just under 300 batting average there with 59 homers and 251 career RBIs. And it appeared that he was headed towards Japan, with the Red Sox taking him this season. And Millar sends it deep to left, to the track, at the wall, and making the catch is Brian Banks in front of the wall, and Ortiz, who thought it would grab the wall, barely gets back to the bag at second. He was a fair distance off the bag and returns to the bag, 2 down.
Well, again, a game of inches. I mean, Millar just missed putting this ball up in the monster seats. Just got underneath it a little bit, tied him up a little, and Banks makes a nice play going back to the wall, leaps, and then a very strong throw in the second base, almost doubled up Ortiz. See Ortiz playing it a little more than halfway. He thought that ball was going to catch the wall. Now he's got a long way to go to get back to second base. Had to hustle and dive.
So 2 down for Gabe Kapler, who doubled off the wall his first time. Kapler, career .271 hitter with 51 home runs between the Texas Rangers and the Detroit Tigers prior to that, and more recently the Colorado Rockies. He's been very big and strong, Gabe Kapler, and he muscles this one into left field for a base hit. Ortiz is going to be stopped there as Banks is up and throwing. He displayed a good arm earlier, and they have gotten Ortiz. So Covich stopped him at third base with 2 down, and the Red Sox with runners at the corners.
A lot of times with 2 outs as a third base coach, you'll take that chance, but Ortiz had no chance. Again, Fenway Park, so tough to score from second base. You see how shallow Banks is. He gets it on 1 hop. He's got the ball before Ortiz even hits the third base bag. No way Covich could wave him around. Banks has been pretty good out there tonight.
Certainly has been. A good arm, and made a nice catch out there. Runners at the corners. We are tied at 2 thanks to a 2-run home run by Nomar Garciaparra. And Jack McKeon certainly last night very frustrated by the experience. You look at Nomar. I want to mention also, Nomar is just the second player with the 31-game hitting streak, home streak, since Ron Oster did it for the Cincinnati Reds back in 1984. So it has been a long time. As Mirabelli, who struck out his first time, takes a look at ball one. It's been 9 games in between RBIs for Doug Mirabelli. I understand Jack McKeon's frustration for a number of reasons last night. I mean, I can't imagine being on the wrong end of that score last night and having to watch all of that. Well, it was a lot of fun for the Red Sox. Wow.
And you know, the amazing thing, you sit in that other dugout, and the first inning's going on for an hour, and the game's basically over after 1 inning.
And your pitching staff is shot, is what you're looking at after that.
You've used 2 pitches without getting an out.
That's unbelievable. Up and away, 2-0.
But you know, somewhere along the line, that's Carl Pavano, who started the game. Somewhere along the line, everybody that plays this game is going to be on one side of those at one point or another. Maybe not that big, but that kind of a frustrating night.
I had to feel for Pavano last night, certainly wanting to do well returning here to Fenway Park, and certainly wanted to show some that they may have made a mistake, even though he was part of the Pedro Martinez deal and there was no mistake there, but that perhaps they gave up on him and maybe not another prospect as part of a trade. And the Connecticut native coming back last night, it really couldn't have gone much worse for him. Ryota Mirabelli is in their first strike. Tommy Phelps thrown 67 pitches, 35 for strikes. And a 2-run lead coming into this inning. The Red Sox are tied at 2-2, now looking for more. Mirabelli grounds it to short. Alex Gonzalez goes the short way to retire Gabe Kapler. The Red Sox are gone. A 2-run home run by Nomar Garciaparra, his 12th, has tied the score at 2. Back at Fenway, tied at 2 now, thanks to Nomar Garciaparra's 12th of the year. It has tied the score at 2, and it's time now for the Aflac trivia question answer from an inning ago. What is the Red Sox record for most runs scored in a season? 1,027 in 1950. 154 games at that time.
Wow, that's a lot of runs for 154 games, huh?
It certainly is. They averaged, I'm told, 6.7 runs per game. This season, the Red Sox, as a result of their output last night, are averaging 6.3 a game. And they're on pace for 1,021. You know how that on pace stuff goes. You know, that can swing.
Yeah, sometimes the pace slows down, sometimes it picks up. I'm always on pace to run like a 6-minute mile, but that always changes. And it changes every single time.
Miguel Cabrera leads it off, and on 4 pitches walks. It is the second time in the game that the Marlins have had a leadoff walk. Juan Pierre to leadoff walk in the 3rd, and now Miguel Cabrera here in the 5th inning. Back to now, Florida has had the leadoff man on in 4 of the first 5 innings. I'm on pace to do a lot of things that never seem to come to fruition. Alex Gonzalez single to left his first time up.
I'm on pace to live to like 110, but I mean that could slow down at any time.
You know what? I think you will live to 110.
No,
because everything's in moderation with you. I mean, you're very good about that, and if anybody's going to make it that long, I think you will.
Well, the good thing is I'm not a type A personality, so those people tend, they tend to live longer. Very low key, they call it, laid back. Nothing bothers me.
Very even keel.
So if we're going with all that, I'd probably get another year.
8 months max. And then for a strike, evens up at 1-1 to Alex Gonzalez.
Wakefield having a little trouble throwing strikes here in the 5th. Goes to the fastball to pick up the strike.
Up in the middle of the Red Sox infield. Freddie Sanchez calling and ducking back to the outfield grass to bring it in.
Well, get the Globe's award-winning sports coverage every day. Call 1-800-984-5335. 50% off home delivery. The Boston Globe, your world unfolding daily.
So one away is the Marlins working to the bottom of their order to Brian Banks. The left fielder struck out swinging his first time up as it misses inside to him. He's hitless in his last 12 at bats for the Marlins. Well, just a beautiful night here tonight at Fenway Park. 74 degrees to begin the evening.
Yeah, this is really nice. You know, the last couple of days very warm, very humid, but I was not going to complain about it after the spring that we've had. But it is nice to get this refreshing air in here, and just perfect tonight at Fenway.
What happened to spring?
We didn't have it.
Never came.
We're going to get 2 next year.
The Red Sox with 1 game left against the Florida Marlins, and then it is off for a 2-week road trip. Taking to Tampa Bay, New York, Toronto, and Detroit, and what works out to be a very important trip, really, for the Red Sox. The second time they've been out for a 2-week venture that has included a 4-city tour. And this time they go up against some of their division foes and some important ball games coming up. Chopped outside to third and foul, and it's 2-2 to Brian Banks. The difference a year makes. Those games against Toronto last year really meant absolutely nothing, except the Red Sox were expected to win 2/3 of them to keep pace with the Yankees. Well, now that series is going to be a terrific series. On the ground, backhand, at least knocked down by Miller. Goes to second, is still able to get the lead man, Cabrera. Nice play by Bill Miller, 2 down.
I'll tell you, he's really been something down there at third base defensively. I mean, very aggressive. Watch him dive, knock this ball down, picks it right up, and knows immediately where he wants to go. He still feels he has a chance at second base because of how hard the ball's hit, and it didn't really get that far away from him. No hesitation, right up to second to get the force out. And in we come close again with Juan Pierre at the plate.
So Banks at first. We're holding him on now, but he will be coming as he is. And Pierre down the first base line. It's a very good bunt. All they can do is let it roll. Let's see if it goes, and it does. No! Picked it up too early. According to Drake, the home plate umpire, had they let it go, I think it would have gone foul, but Millar, so quick to pick it up, actually may have done so while the ball was still on the line.
I think you're right, Don. I think he was just a little premature on scooping this ball up. It looked like it was heading toward foul territory. Now let's take a look. We'll get a look down the line. Was it coming back to fair territory? Here it goes on the line. Now let's watch what it does. Looks like, yeah, he made the right play. He made the right play. He tried to scoop it before it got back in the fair territory.
And probably at that junction, 9 times out of 10, he gets that call. It's a good call, as it turns out, by Drake, the home plate umpire.
Yeah, by the way, that is the home plate umpire's call till that ball gets by first base.
And Drake was certainly on the scene to make that call.
That's an excellent, what a great shot on that camera shot of that ground ball, because that, you know, from looking at it from this distance and from the stands, you would think that he was premature, and if he lets it go, it's going to go foul.
On the ground to third, Miller bobbling it in. By the time he can capture it, has no play. So a couple of strange plays here have led to the bases loaded for the Marlins and 2 down.
Yeah, this last couple have been pretty bizarre. The bunt, and then this ball bounces off Miller, and it bounces far enough away where he just can't do anything with it. Right there, he gets it in the stomach. By the time he picks it out, he can't make the play at third base. He was not going to get Pierre at second either with his speed.
They only charge Miller with an error. The camera shot at first base. Do you have any doubts as to who it was? One of the game's best. Joe Stafford.
That was terrific.
Juan Rodriguez stands in with the bases loaded. A chance here to break a 2-2 tie in the top of the 5th inning for the Marlins.
See, I bet all 35,000 people here tonight thought that Millar picked it up too soon. But if they had seen Joe Stafford's cut of that replay, you knew it was coming back fair.
To third, Miller this time dives to the bag, and it gets there in time.
How about that?
What a play by Bill Miller. Continues to impress and ends the inning himself. We're still tied at 2 halfway through this one. Back at Fenway Park, tied at 2. Let's find Eric Freed up in the monster seats.
Thanks very much, Don. I'm here with Pulitzer Prize winning author Samantha Power. I hang out with the high rollers here at Fenway Park. Samantha, you write about very serious topics, and you're a professor at Harvard. Just why don't you give us an overview of some of the things you've been doing?
Well, I spent about the last 7 years. I was a reporter in Bosnia during the wars there in the early to mid 90s, and I spent the last 7 years trying to look into American responses to genocide in the 20th century, just to try to see how we were bystanders and how we were upstanders from time to time, to try to understand kind of what the relationship between American foreign policy and its values really should be.
Now, how does Samantha fit into Fenway Park? You can tell by the outfit here. She threw out the first pitch here today. You are a big, huge Red Sox fan. I almost called you beyond a fan here, a little bit of a sports nut, but you love the Sox.
Well, I came actually to America when I was a kid. I came when I was 9, actually to Pittsburgh initially, and moved to Boston only in 1995. But baseball has just been my accompaniment. It was my introduction to America. I moved to America in 1979, and the Pirates were winning the World Series with Willie Stargell and Kent Tekulve, and We Are Family, and I had this thick Irish accent. I was a complete geek, and it was sort of all I had. And then when I came to Boston and was working on this book, which took me about 6 years to complete, getting U.S. government documents declassified and interviewing people, baseball again became my company. And actually, in the acknowledgments of my book, I include Pedro Martinez's name, and he doesn't realize it, but without him, I'm not sure I could have actually slogged through the journey to get to this point.
How did Pedro help you? Because he's in your acknowledgments. I saw you signed a copy of the book to Pedro.
Well, I think he shows you what you can do when you put your mind to it, and the kind of will and determination that one needs if one is serious about advancing one's values. And of course, one of the findings of my book is that we as a country haven't done very much in the face of genocide, you know, whether it was the Holocaust or Rwanda or Bosnia. And so I felt like he was the antidote, because he showed you when you were serious about something how much you actually could achieve.
Well, I appreciate your time, Samantha, and I hope you get that book to Pedro. We'll make sure it gets to him. Thanks, and enjoy the game.
Thank you so much.
Don, Jerry, back to you.
All right, Eric, thanks very much. That was neat. One down here in the bottom of the 5th inning. As a lineup by Freddie Sanchez to right field. Are you going to acknowledge me in your book? Are you going to have any kind of acknowledgement at all? Am I going to even be in your book?
I can't tell you now, but there's a pretty good chance.
I understand that as Damon Swings and Misses the World was interviewed here last night for your book, and I'm still waiting for my call, which hasn't come yet.
Well, you weren't here last night.
Oh.
And somebody does have your phone number, so don't let that bother you. I mean, you worry about a lot of things.
So shortstop Alex Gonzalez throws in time to get Johnny Damon, and there's 2 down.
I'm the one that's going to be bothered, because I could come out like a complete fool in this thing.
I don't think so. I think you'll do just fine. I read some of the transcript, and it's going to be terrific. When is the book coming out? I know there'll be a press conference and everything. I don't want to ruin.
Next spring.
Next spring. That's terrific.
Timed for next baseball season.
2 down for Bill Miller. Walked and scored in the 4th inning. He lines it to left. Banks on the move. Won't get there. Shoots through to the track and the wall. Miller is headed for second base. He'll stand there with a 2-out double and reclaim the top spots in doubles in the American League with his 29th.
You know, a couple of years ago, I've kind of named certain guys dirt dogs. Well, Bill Miller is the ultimate dirt dog. And, you know, here's a good example of play that he makes at second base. But here's a dirt dog play. No, this is, no, that's not the one. This one here. Dive at the bag. No regard for your body. No regard for the guy coming in. That's a dirt dog play.
Again, on top of that category, Garrett Anderson and Aubrey Huff is one better as Nomar stands in. Garciaparra with a 2-run home run in the 4th that tied the score at 2. He has 12 home runs this season. 4 of the last 5 home runs have been off lefties. And 7 of the 12 home runs have either tied the score or put the Red Sox ahead. So they've all been timely for Nomar Garciaparra this season. Omar's 12th home run of the year in the 4th inning was after Bill Miller had walked. Monster seat shot to tie the score at 2. A nice grab out there by a fan of the second row of the monster seats up there in left field. Actually, Jerry, the last Saturday night game that you and I did together was from the monster seats.
That's exactly right. Yep. Houston Astros in town. Bagwell had a home run off the Coke bottles that night.
Omar chops it outside, a 3rd and foul, and a full count now.
Getting back to that play by Bill Miller at 3rd, it was almost like a goal line stand. You know, he was not going to let the running back get to the bag before he did.
It was a great play. It really could have been a worse collision too, with both of them going head first towards the bag at 3rd. Kind of reminded me of the Jeter play earlier this year as Nomar able to work the walk.
Oh, look at this. Pudge Rodriguez and the umpire really going to get into it here. Bill Miller. It's either me or you, pal, and I'm going to get there first. You're going to have to slide on top of me to get the bag. Pudge Rodriguez is really upset with Drake, the home plate umpire. He thought that was strike 3, and they've been jawing at each other ever since that last. Look at the umpire. You know, Rodriguez hasn't turned around, and generally, you know, why bend over and start yelling at him like that? Just continue to talk.
He's gone out of his way not to show him up, and the umpire has showed him up, and now to the point where it's gotten a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. You know, again, we talk about baseball etiquette. Generally, umpires don't mind it if that catcher just doesn't look back at him, and Rodriguez didn't.
Nobody in the world knew that he was doing anything,
That's right.
saying anything besides the umpire.
Now the umpire comes out in front and points at him. That's not good etiquette. And that's what McKeon's out there for right now. And also to save his catcher to keep him into the game.
Home plate umpire tonight is Rob Drake. And McKeon has done most of the talking there, and he'll head back to the dugout.
Here's the pitch that Pudge Rodriguez is upset about. He thought that was strike 3. He's got a legitimate argument, and he starts jawing, not looking at the umpire, but jawing at him, and they start going at each other pretty good. See, there's Pudge right there. Now the timeout. Now there's no need for that. He points at him twice.
Umpires never want to be shown up, but that was a case of Drake showing up at Vaughn Rodriguez right there. 2 down in the inning, 2 on, and Manny Ramirez will get a chance. The Red Sox tonight are 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. And he's got 1 right now in scoring position with Miller at second, Garciaparra at first, 2 down.
Between catcher and umpire happens all the time between all catchers and umpires, and generally umpires will tell you, if you don't look at me, I'm going to listen to you.
Two on, 2 outs here in the last of the 5th inning. Manny taking all the way, backing out as the pitch was coming in, and back in there. Red Sox with a chance here with a score tied at 2. Well, 4-pitch walk. Ramirez looking back as if that may get the strike call late. Maybe he just didn't hear it, but it's a 4-pitch walk and back-to-back walks for Tommy Phelps, and the bases are loaded.
Well, again, a close pitch on the 3-0 count. Manny not quite sure, but that ball clearly down and away. Interesting, next time Pudge Rodriguez goes to the plate, because if there's anything close that doesn't go his way, he may leave the game permanently.
I would think he would. Still not the best of friends right now as it stands. And the base is loaded, 2 down. David Ortiz doubled to right his last time up. He's 1 for 2 and a .441 hitter career with the bases loaded. He takes a big hack at the first one. Tommy Phelps now working here in the last of the 5th inning. Has thrown 90 pitches in his outing tonight. 46 of the 90 pitches have been for strikes. Nobody warming in the Marlins pen. Bases loaded, 2 down. Ortiz slashes a foul back to the backstop, 0-2.
Tommy Phelps got away with one there. A high breaking ball that stayed about letter high, and Ortiz fouling it straight back. I think Ortiz would love to have that one back again.
So Phelps, after the double to Miller, has given up back-to-back walks. All of this coming with 2 down. Ortiz sends it to center field. Juan Pierre in his tracks out there, reels it in. And the Red Sox will leave him loaded.
You got it back again.
Couldn't do anything with it. And the Red Sox still tied at 2 with the Marlins. Back at Fenway as the Red Sox and Florida Marlins play game 2 of the 3-game series. Let's take a look at the game summary tonight. Tim Wakefield through 5 has given up 2, and Tommy Phelps the same through 5 innings, also giving up 2. Nomar tied the game with his 2-run home run into the monster seats, his 12th, and gave Kapler in his first Red Sox game a single and a double, and Juan Pierre with a bunt single and a couple of thefts in the first led to the Marlins' first run of the night. Tim Wakefield back out there for the 6th inning. Mike Lowell, Juan Encarnacion, and Derek Lee, 4, 5, and 6 for Florida.
You know, Don, between innings, after 5 innings, we have this new feature this year at Fenway where a young lady goes around the bases, sweeps the bases, and it's kind of growing on me. I'm kind of getting used to it. It was a little tough at first. But
you like it now?
It's growing on me. It's like, idiot, come on. She sweeps second. Little fight there with the guy. Come on, idiot, go. Watch a little skip.
Popped up left side. Omar coming in equidistant between 2nd and 3rd. He makes the catch for the final out. There's more, I'm told.
Yeah, we'll see a completed job. See the little skip now. Idiot, come on. Now the little sweep. Now should go over do the umpire's shoes, the coach's shoes. Now watch the arm. Look at the arm, though.
Wow.
Throwing that souvenir into the stands. Become a huge thing here at Fenway between at the end of the 5th.
Her name is Colleen, and I guess she has a red uniform that she's worn only once.
On Sunday, maybe?
Yeah. Well, she wore, I think it was recently. I think it might have been the day game on Thursday. Yeah, that's exactly what it was, against the Tigers. And she said she didn't like the red. Thought it was too much, so she's gone back to the blue. Juan Encarnacion sends it to left, and Ramirez runs it down. Got a good jump and makes the catch as he runs onto the warning track for out number 2.
Manny Ramirez got an outstanding jump on this line drive.
Number 25.
Line shot off the bat of Encarnacion. A great jump by Manny directly back and takes extra bases away. Again playing shallow, that time getting to the line drive.
2 down for Derek Lee. He's 1 for 2. He singled in the 2nd, grounded out to short in the 4th inning. It seems to me that we've seen a lot more catches like that for Manny Ramirez this season than his first couple.
You know, overall, I think this is the best I've seen Manny play defensively. Now, there have been some episodes that, you know, every player goes through, and then every time Manny makes one, everybody's very critical about, well, put him at DH. But I think overall, Don, and it's just my opinion, that this year he has played a much better defense than we've seen here in the past. The problem is he comes with the reputation, and every time he does mess one up, like everybody does, everybody's calling for him to be the permanent DH.
Amazing how that can go in cycles. There's a big cut from Lee. Seeing Whiteout out. Is there a problem?
Yeah, I forgot to turn my scorecard over, so I've given an Ortiz an out in this inning, and also Millar. It's incorrect.
And for those of you purchasing a scorecard, line to 3rd. Bill Miller's there to make the catch up off the shoe tops. In order to go the Marlins in the 6th, but it took some great defense from Manny. Tied at 2.
Cubs Red Sox postgame show with extra highlights, extra interviews, and extra analysis, hosted by Bob Rogers and a lineup of insightful studio analysts. After the last inning, the action is just beginning.
Bottom of the 6th inning, Kevin Millar, Gabe Kapler, and Doug Marabelli to face Tommy Phelps, who is now 93 pitches deep into his outing tonight. And he falls behind Kevin Millar 2-0. Millar has struck out tonight and flied to the track in left field. To Millar. A couple of walks last inning for Tommy Phelps. He's now walked 3 in the game. And then the strike makes it 3-1. Base hit for Millar. His first hit of the night, and the Red Sox with their 7th.
Well, this inning is the Foxwoods fantasy inning. Tonight's contestant is Lee Harvey of West Stockbridge, Massachusetts. If the Red Sox hit a home run this inning, Lee will win a dinner for 2 and a free night stay at Foxwoods Resort Casino. For your chance to win, visit boston.com/Nesson.
Kapler, the next hitter, is time called. Last possible second that time. Kapler is 2 for 2 in his Red Sox debut, a double in the 3rd and a single in the 4th. It's been a very good debut here tonight for Gabe Kapler in a Red Sox uniform. Would be a pretty good place for him to play, but as it worked out, it did not work out for Gabe Kapler there with the Rockies, and the Red Sox hopefully hoping that they are the beneficiary of perhaps a misjudgment by the Rockies, who released Gabe Kapler. At this stage of his career, after playing with a few teams, certainly looking to reestablish himself as a major league player again. It's Jack McKeon coming out with a count of 2-0. Let's take a look at the Heineken What's on Tap for the next couple games for the Red Sox. Sunday, the final game of the series against the Marlins, and then the Red Sox will have Monday off. It's actually a travel day and begin Tuesday night against the Devil Rays. 6:30 Tuesday, 6:30 Wednesday, and Thursday at 5:30 with all the action right here on Nesson.
Here's the girl that does the bases. What's she doing now? She's bringing gifts. She's bearing gifts.
Delivering something down towards the owner's box, it appears. In the air to center field. Gabe Kapler has gone deep, back, and up off the wall in center field. Kevin Millar is going to round third and head for a home as Kapler goes to third, an RBI triple, and welcome to Boston, Gabe Kapler. He's driven in the go-ahead run, and the Red Sox lead it 3-2.
Well, as Bob Rogers likes to say, anybody that's on the postgame show has a big night. And Kapler due on the postgame show tonight, he's having a big night. Just missed a home run, triple off that center field wall. And when the ball bounces off the wall, it gets far enough back away from the outfield as it's going to allow Millar to come all the way around to score. Encarnacion finally picking that ball up in center field.
I thought you were going to say Tall Jack. I thought you were going to say Tall Jack, as Bob Rogers would say.
No, you know, they always, it seems like every time they have a guest schedule for the WB Mason postgame show, that guest has a very good night.
It's worked out.
So if I was a member of the Red Sox, I'd be lining up to try to get on that show.
3-for-3 performance, double, single, and a triple. He's a home run away from the cycle tonight in his Red Sox debut, and that'd be something. As Doug Mirabelli with a count of 0-1. Infield in all the way around as Doug takes ball 1-1. Mirabelli off the end of the bat, squirts it to first. Eric Lee is there, and he'll tag the bag alone. No advance for Kapler at third base, and there's one down.
Infield playing in at this stage of the ball game with the Marlins trailing by 1 and not playing contact. You don't generally play contact with nobody out. Kapler has the type of speed where you can use that play. It's more likely with 1 out in the inning. And here's Derek Lee just tagging first base. By the way, the girl that runs the bases, her name is Colleen Riley. She is an employee of the Red Sox. We want to make sure we get her name out there.
Pretty sure she was an ambassador in her first season, and they have upgraded her to some other things here at Fenway Park and working for the ball club as well. Those ambassadors do a great job, Jerry. I think, you know, it's one of the additions that the new ownership has brought with them, and I think it's a terrific idea. And I know those of you who have had help from the ambassadors here over the last year plus. Certainly a very helpful group. Squeezes on, and in from third comes Kapler. The throw to first, and safe there is Freddie Sanchez. It works out all the way around. The Red Sox steal a run and lead it 4-2.
That's the second time that Grady's used that play now in a couple of weeks, and the right combination. The number 9 into Sanchez. All you have to do on the squeeze play is get the ball on the ground. You don't have to place it anywhere. Just get it on the ground. Here's Kapler coming home. Sanchez bunts it down on the ground right back to the pitcher. They've got no play at home, and now no play at first. Castillo can't find the bag. He has to go back toward the first base bag. Sanchez slides in, and Castillo never tagged the bag.
Still just 1 out in the inning. And Johnny Damon up for the 4th time. He's 0 for 3. Nice play by Freddie Sanchez.
I love that kind of baseball.
I know you do. And the funny thing is, it seems like it's something that the Red Sox have not done a lot of, but Grady all of a sudden is now having some success with it. You wonder how much he'll go back to it now that he's got some people to help him out with it too, the right people in some situations.
The thing is, it's time of game, situation in game, combination of who's at the plate, who's on third, and it's a perfect time. I mean, you just grabbed the lead 3-2, and you know the other team's down a little bit. You drop the squeeze on them. Beautiful.
In the air to right field. Juan Encarnacion coming over. So is Pierre, and it falls. The two combine, and neither able to step up and grab it. Both are pretty speedy players, but somehow it falls in right center field, and the inning continues. 2 on, 1 away.
No communication out there at all between Pierre and Encarnacion now. Generally in these cases, center fielder has priority, but it looks to me like both guys look at each other and nobody can decide who can make the play. There they are. They're looking at each other.
Well, Bill Miller sends it foul off the right side. Was grounded out to second, walked and scored and doubled. Everybody in the Red Sox starting 9 has a hit with the exception of Doug Mirabelli. As Tommy Phelps now, who has worked into the bottom of the 6th inning and now dealing with a 2-run deficit, has thrown 108 pitches. Well, there's action in the Marlins pen as the count evens at 1-1 to Bill Miller.
He may be facing his last hit. He got the right-hander loosening up in the bullpen, and of course Garcia Parra up next.
It's an 8 bump.
Just called up today. Of course, Kevin Olson, who was hitting the head last night, put on a disable list and got bumped up from AAA.
Well, the second squeeze play of the season for the Red Sox. Since 1996, the Red Sox have executed 9 of 12 squeeze plays, which is a pretty high rate.
The other thing about the squeeze is we look at strike 3. you try to put it in a position where you know you're going to get a strike, because you want your bunter in that spot to be able to handle a good pitch.
So like 2-0.
Yeah, you know, you're looking at maybe 0-0, maybe 1-0, 2-1. You know, normally good hitters counts. That's what you want to put the squeeze play on.
You wouldn't do it 0-2.
No, that would not be advised. Unless you can bunt from the seat of your pants.
Out. Nomar lines it to left field, back by the wall, off the wall. Sanchez will score, trying to score Damon all the way from first. He was in, and the Red Sox lead it 6-2. 2 more RBIs for Nomar Garciaparra, 4 in all, and the Red Sox lead it 6-2.
From the Red Sox. Garciaparra plants it off the right above the scoreboard. Damon with his speed will have no problem scoring. And a big inning for the Red Sox.
Well, that will do it for Tommy Phelps. He'll leave the game after 112 pitches. And a new pitcher will be coming on here for the Marlins. Gabe Kapler's got 3 hits in this one, and the Red Sox getting everything done right tonight. Even the squeeze. They lead at 6-2. Back at Fenway as the Red Sox lead at 6-2 now in the midst of the bottom of the 6th inning. It has been a 4-run bottom of the 6th inning so far for the Red Sox. Tommy Phelps has gone after 5 2/3 innings, and the major league debut tonight for Nate Bump.
Numbers down at AAA in 15 games, a 6-5 record. All starts down at the minor league level. As Don mentioned, his major league debut, he's replacing Kevin Olson, who was placed on the 15-day disabled list. Coming up from Albuquerque. Albuquerque used to be the AAA home of the Dodgers.
A long time.
A long time, yeah. Now Florida Marlins.
Boston Red Sox baseball on NESN is brought to you by the Bone and Joint Center, Caritas St. Elizabeth. You don't have to be an all-star to be treated like one. Well, the Red Sox will be sending up the 8th man to bat in the inning for Boston in the 6th with 2 down. Tommy Phelps went 5 2/3. Gave up 11 hits. So far has been touched for 6 runs. Well, we'd like to welcome tonight's visitors to the Dunkin' Dugout. Dunkin' Donuts is proud to host area youth and charity organizations at every Red Sox home game. And as always, we'd like to thank the fine folks from Dunkin' Donuts for providing our broadcast crew with refreshments. Dunkin' Donuts, just the thing.
Well, between Dunkin' Donuts and the Hoodsies, we're going to start working out.
I can hear myself getting fatter. Manny Ramirez standing in with Nomar Garciaparra at second base and 2 down. Outfield set up straight away and deep for Manny. As Nate Bump in his major league debut. How about this? First guy you face, Manny Ramirez. Into center field, a base hit. Nomar being waved around. He will score with the 7th Boston run. An RBI single for Manny Ramirez. And the hits just keep coming for the Red Sox.
Manny picks up his 61st RBI of the season. Manny 5th in the league in RBI. Now 5 behind Garrett Anderson, who is 4th. Actually got jammed on that. That ball ran back in his hands, but he's able to muscle the ball in the center field for the base hit.
Well, David Ortiz, 9th man to bat of the inning for the Red Sox, 1 for 3 tonight, as Ortiz doubled in the 4th inning. Closed on Tommy Phelps, 5 2/3, 11 hits. He's charged with 7 runs tonight. Walked 3, struck out 3, and on the hook came into tonight's game at 3-2 overall. Inside, 3-0 now. David Ortiz.
Nick Bump had quite a college career at Penn State. Their all-time leader in starts, innings pitched, wins, and strikeouts. Big Ten Pitcher of the Year as a sophomore. Was in the San Francisco organization.
Ortiz out after the 3-0 pitch.
Joe Paterno coached the baseball team at Penn State too?
I don't think so.
Joe Pa? Joe Pa?
I think Joe Pa is strictly football. I could be wrong. Did he go? No. And it's ball 4 to David Ortiz. The Red Sox have batted around here in the 6th inning. The 4th walk given up tonight by Marlins pitcher. Bump is yet to record an out. He's given up a single and a walk since coming on. Well, it was Kevin Millar that got this inning started with a single to left field, and here he is for the 2nd time in the inning. Bottom of the 6th inning so far for the Red Sox. On top 7-2 now over the Marlins. 1 point tonight. The Red Sox were trailing 2-0. Florida came up with single runs in the 1st and 2nd innings. The Red Sox have scored 7 unanswered runs since. And the guy that's been driving in the bulk of the runs tonight is Nomar Garciaparra, who's got a home run and 4 RBIs tonight with 2 hits. 1 for a home run and 1 for a double, and his torrid pace continues. Foul at the plate. It's 1-2 now to Kevin Millar.
It's interesting. Last night, Johnny Damon could have hit for the cycle if he had a home run in his first 4 at bats. Same thing tonight with Kapler. Kapler going for the cycle in his next at bat.
Waits on deck, make it a chance this inning. Breaking ball missing inside. 2-2 now to Millar. And there is at second, Ortiz at first with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And a full count to Millar. Frustrating series for Jack McKeon so far. Millar gets hit, and down to first base he goes. The base is loaded, and a warning given by Rob Drake, the home plate umpire.
That's absurd. Why in the world is he trying to hit Millar with men at first and second? I mean, I understand what happened last night, and I understand being cautious, but have a feel for the game. I mean, even Grady knows this is a little bit foolish.
Guy who's certainly nervous in his major league debut. And hit batsman here, and McKeon is out. And after the warning was given, and I'm sure he's saying the same thing.
He might go, you know, Don. Pudge had it out with him earlier in the game. This is not going to set well with McKeon. I wouldn't be surprised he goes. I mean, you know, who in the world, you got a rookie pitcher on the mound making his major league debut, first and second, 2 outs, who's trying to hit Millar? I mean, come on.
It was ridiculous. And McKeon echoing that down there with home plate umpire Rob Drake.
You think Jack's been through many baseball wars. I mean, he looks like the ultimate old-time baseball guy. You see, it's starting to heat up now.
Yeah,
it's starting to heat up now.
We'll elevate the temper a little bit.
Put the hat on sideways. There's the pitch that causes the warning. I don't know. It's an overreaction to what happened last night.
Gabe Kapler, who has doubled, singled, and tripled tonight. Home run shy of hitting for the Cycles. He carves the first one foul. There's one career grand slam. And he bats here with the bases loaded, 2 down in the bottom of the 6th inning. Red Sox have already scored 5 times in the inning. Nate Bump has not retired anybody since coming on. He's given up a single, a walk, and has hit a batter. Evens up at 1-1 to Kapler. Kapler, 27 years of age, signed to a minor league deal by the Red Sox on June 24th and was activated tonight prior to the ball game. We're 1-1. Inside this time to Kapler. Nobody warming up in the Marlins pen. Ramirez at third, Ortiz at second, Millard first.
19 Red Sox have hit for the cycle. Kapler looking to become number 20.
The 2-1. Kapler swings away, and it evens up at 2-2. The 2-2. Kapler fouls it off back into the seats and behind him. John Valentin, the last, back in 1996.
Only Red Sox player to do that twice was Bobby Doerr. Red Sox Hall of Famer.
Maybe something if Kapler did it in his first night in a Red Sox uniform. Grounds it again, foul up above the Marlins dugout on the third base side. Nate Bump in his major league debut trying to record his first out. Now the 2-2. Kapler lines it down the line into the corner. Ramirez will score. Here comes Ortiz. Millard is still running. He'll be stopped. The 4th hit of the night for Gabe Kapler drives in 2 more. And the Red Sox lead at 9-2. As picked off at third base is Millard. A little overzealous and coming around the bag. But the Red Sox get 2 more and lead at 9-2 at the end of 6. On top.